Ну что, Рафа, похоже, мы в прямом эфире. Как ты понимаешь мой русский? Все нормально? Каждое слово понятно? Okay, Rafa, I just start fiddling with Russian, asking you, do you understand what I'm trying to tell you in Russian or so?
Absolutely. I understand everything.
Yeah.
I got the whole thing, the whole story.
Cool, that's great. Ребята, мы начали тут немного шуток и со всяких прибауток, потому что YouTube сегодня устроил темную. И самая интересная тема, что мы переносили наш стрим, потому что очень много событий за последние дни произошло. Казалось бы, чем может удивить 2020 год, кроме ковида и всех вот этих заморочек, связанных с этим? Но нет, оказалось, может быть намного больше интересных и не очень вещей, которые могут нас содрогнуть. I just described that this year brings us COVID virus and quarantine stuff and things like that, and it was a big surprise that this year can bring something new and such a like incredibly terrible, incredibly stupid, and incredibly harmful for a lot of guys, even worse than a virus actually, because a lot of people not scaring to be infected right now, but they're like fighting for their rights. They to trying to speak for themselves, and I understand that you're and all the music community and Grammy community as well supporting such like contribution which people brings.
Yeah, I think it was a no-brainer, for us, because I think that music is actually unity. Music has always been, one of the biggest platforms to unify people, to tear down those barriers, amongst us humans. And it only makes sense, I mean, we should be like the forefront. We should be like the first line against, all of these injustices, that are happening.
Definitely. Рафа говорит, что музыка на самом... Я немного рассказал, с чего я вступил, и поделился своим впечатлением, что сейчас музыкальная комьюнити и Рафа в том числе, его коллеги, ребята из Грэмми всячески поддерживают ребят, которые борются за свои права, и это на самом деле очень круто. И Рафа подтвердил эту мысль, он сказал, что это важные вещи, и музыкальная комьюнити это вне всех вот этих предрассудков расовых, национальных, каких угодно. И музыкальная комьюнити — это про объединение. И именно поэтому мы сегодня здесь. I just quickly finished this type of introduction, which we can't ignore, really, with the idea that right here today, we're proclaiming and declaring such an idea of joining, the music joining, because you're right now in LA, it's 10 a.m. Here in Konotop, in my small city, it's 8 p.m. It's 8 p.m. in Moscow, and guys in Vladivostok, for example, living in tomorrow already, and we're all joined today, and that's really incredible. It's inspired me, and I'm sure it's inspired you. Ребята, с нами сегодня на стриме невероятный, просто обалденный Рафа Сардина, мастер эмоционального сведения. Его работы завораживают своей красотой. Он один из тех звукорежиссеров, который не боится по-настоящему ломать рамки, отходить от канонов. Он по-настоящему старается двигаться за музыкой, а не за трендами. Он вдохновляет меня, и каждая его работа, которую я слышу, просто разрывает мозг своими какими-то новыми идеями, новыми эмоциями. И как раз сегодня мы хотим об этом и поговорить. So, Rafa, I just quickly introduce you to guys and introduced you as an incredible person and an incredible professional, astonishing, outstanding audio enthusiast who really breaks all the rules, not just trying and saying things like that, oh, okay, I will do something else. No, you really do things in your way. You're not scaring and not trying to be like somebody else. You're playing your own game, but in respect to everybody around you. And that's really inspiring. And I just quickly describe my feeling about your works, that they are really emotional, and every work you're putting into publishing is something special, something unique. It's not just a copy of something which was in past. Even with artists with whom you're working for decades already, every work, Alexandra Suez, for example, I was like mind-blowing when you've not your but your publishers released this album, and you've got a Grammy for it, and it's well deserved because it's such an intimate and such an emotional stuff. Okay, it's a quick introduction, and let's start from the scratch. I know that you're from Spain, but more particularly, you're from the Basque country. So, are you Basque or are you Spanish
Yeah, I am Basque.
guy?
Yeah, I am Basque. Yeah, I
Окей,
am
окей,
Basque.
great.
Yeah.
Ребята, я только что спросил у Рафы, он испанец или он баск, потому что я знаю, что он из страны Басков, это на севере Испании. Not all the guys know that Basques are different culture. It's not so similar to Spanish guys or Italian guys, because you have totally different type of language. It's like another language group. You have another type of cultural, and this type of endemic, sorry if it's not the right word, country brings a lot of talents into the music world and into the world of cultural. So my first question would be, Rafa, tell us how, when, and where you discovered the world of music. Did it happen in your childhood, or
Yeah,
were you already an adult?
No, it happened in my childhood. It happened very, very early on when I was only like maybe 6, 7 years old. I was actually already convinced, I play guitar, and I was convinced, that this was going to be my future. I mean, obviously it was I envisioned this in a very naive kind of way, right? Very innocent kind of way. Like, oh, I'm going to be an artist. I'm going to be playing guitar. I'm going to play concerts. But obviously all of this, and then again, when I was only 15 years old, I had my first opportunity in the studio, in a real professional recording studio, like a real production experience.
Let me translate. Я спросил у Рафы, когда он познакомился с миром музыки, и он говорит, что это было в детстве, когда он был совсем еще мальцом, он уже играл на гитаре, и он очень полюбил эту тему, и он говорит, что в то время он достаточно в наивном ключе на это все смотрел, то есть выступления, концерты, игра, все это такое, очень романтическое представление у него были. Но в 15 лет у него уже был первый опыт записи и работы в реальной студии звукозаписи. Okay, Rafa, you can continue.
Yeah, and then, from that point on, it really stuck with me. The whole concept of music, not just as a performance, but also as as something that you could actually dedicate your time on in the studio. The world of actual music production in the studio. That's when I discovered it. And to me, that was actually life-changing because it allowed me later on to create my own space, creative space, doing this instead of just dedicating it exclusively to being an artist or performing with a band. I wasn't limited to that anymore.
Okay, great. Рафа говорит, что вот этот опыт в студии показал ему то, что ему не обязательно вот ограничивать себя только работе как артистом, то есть что-то играть, что-то выступать. Он говорит, что его интерес был намного шире, и вот этот мир звукозаписи, он дал ему возможность взглянуть на музыку под разными углами, посмотреть на эти все вещи под широкой перспективой. Окей, Рафа.
Yeah, and I think that a very important aspect of my younger years doing this is that I tried everything. I did local production for shows. I was a stage manager, road manager, monitor engineer, front of house engineer. I mean, I did it all. I did anything imaginable. I even did like the sound for boxing matches. Do you know what I mean? Like, I mean, you name it, I will try anything and everything that would allow me to be connected to the world of music and sound.
Yeah.
And during the process, I also discovered how much I love technology. So it was a good match for me.
Окей, great. Рафа говорит, что из-за вот этой страсти к познанию широкой перспективы музыки он успел поработать кем угодно. И был фок-инженером, то есть был звукорежиссером на живых концертах, был монтажником сцены, был мониторным специалистом там. Потом он, говорит, даже озвучивал боксерские матчи. То есть его работа совершенно разнообразная была, но она дала ему широкую палитру перспективы и интереса в этом плане. Окей, Рафа? As I understood, such a limit which usually musicians have because they are playing their own songs for the whole life. They recording their own ideas, they collaborating with their own people. They are limited in kind of connection. They are not limited in expanding audience, but they are limited in a kind of professional connection, if you understand what I mean.
Absolutely,
but you was young enough, but wise enough to understand that the world of recording technology can bring something bigger and better, bigger palette of the actual people, artists, producers with whom you can work together. Expand on this a bit.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that that's one concept that people ask me, but what kind of music do you like? I think that's the first important question that you can have to make yourself. And I always say, I have an amazing love for rock music. That's what I play. That's how I started, even though I also play some classical. But what kind of music I love? Good music. I mean, it is very, very simple. It is good music. I don't care what style of music it might be. That allow me to be not just to be flexible for the sake of it, in terms of the kind of projects I take, but actually to have that desire to do those kind of projects and to learn from those kind of projects. That's why I work on so many styles of music. I go from
definitely
opera to next thing I'm doing. I'm actually mixing an opera right now. I'm working on a thing I produced. I'm producing this thing, but at the same time, I'm mixing a pop album, and then I'm working on a folk thing, and then I'm doing another rock thing. So it is important that you discover early on that you can do it, and that you have, the energy and you have the understanding to do it.
Yeah, totally understand. Я спросил у Рафы, вот он начал работать в мире звукозаписи, потому что он почувствовал, что артист — это достаточно ограниченная в плане связей, в плане каких-то рабочих контактов работа, потому что артист играет свою собственную музыку, записывает свою собственную музыку, работает с людьми, с которыми он привык работать, то есть это довольно ограниченная тема. Аудитория не ограничена, но в плане рабочих контактов все ограничено. А мир звукорежиссуры — это совсем другая тема, потому что здесь можно работать с невероятным количеством артистов. И вот Рафа говорит, что действительно, и вот первый вопрос, который задаешь себе: какой жанр музыки мне нравится? Какая музыка мне конкретно нравится? И Рафа говорит, ответ очень прост: хорошая музыка. И когда он отвечает себе на этот вопрос, он понимает, что он хочет работать с разными жанрами. И он, как звукорежиссер, работает с невероятным количеством музыкальных стилей и артистов, начиная от попа, R&B, заканчивая джазом и оперой. Он говорит, что он много играл в рок-группах, то есть он занимался рок-музыкой, это тоже его тема, но посмотрите, какая широкая палитра. Вот он говорит, даже сейчас работает над оперой, и в то же время он делал поп-альбом. И это все одновременно, и это все работает вот таким образом. Yeah, Rafa. The interesting thing about rock music, I have a question in my like a short scenery plan for today. I found that in your credits list there are not a lot. I found like zero super heavy metal, death, core, thrash metal, black metal, and things like that. Do you like such a music, or
Oh
you're
yeah, I grew up with that music.
but
I
but
grew up with that music.
but
Yeah.
why you're not working with it? You're
You
just
know,
not connecting with artists, or some
I
other reason?
actually, for example, that those styles for me. Actually, I work with the guys from Metallica. You know, I know those guys, and you know, I know some of the guys from Slayer, and you know, and Anthrax, and you know, I work. I mean, but I never had the actual, you know, opportunity of doing. I mean, sometimes it happens. You know, I've done you
Yeah.
know rock things, but maybe lighter rock, not like the you know so heavy kind of thing. And I guess that, for example, there are some worlds in the music, the production world. There are like some areas where um, people really specialize. Even though I have never specialized, and I refuse to specialize. I do. And you mentioned jazz too. I'm also producing another jazz project, and I just finished a flamenco music
Yeah.
album, and yeah, I mean, my roster of projects is always like that because I choose to do so. But for example, in the heavy rock, I mean, I think that's a very niche kind of area. I mean, there haven't been really that many opportunities for me. I would love to
Yeah.
though. I would love to do more. Yeah.
Окей, see. Рафа сказал, что он очень любит рок-музыку, и он занимался рок-музыкой, но в его списке кредитов нет большого количества рок-музыки и каких-то более тяжелых групп, дэз-металла, дэз-кора, блэк-металла, трэш-металла. Говорю это, ну, потому что ты отказываешься от такой работы. Рафа говорит, нет, он знает ребят из Металлики, из Слеера, из Антракса, но он говорит, просто не было, ну, вот, возможностей каких-то по работе с такими группами. Он говорит, что с удовольствием бы занялся этой темой, но это довольно нишевая тематика, и в той стезе, в которой он работает, то есть фламенко, поп, R&B, очень сложно ребятам таким, как Рафа, включиться в мир тяжелой музыки, да, и, наверное, смысла особого нет. There are not many guys like you who really not trying to specialize on something, because mainly in US, you know, Atlanta city, people specialized on rap and R&B music, more rapish R&B, not pop R&B, not soul R&B, but more rap kind of stuff. Guys in Nashville specialize on country, on bluegrass, on pop country, and on contemporary music, on things like that. They are very like religious, and there are a lot of Christian bands and things like that. But in Los Angeles, you're living in LA, there are the biggest scene for the pop artists, for R&B artists, for all the billboard kind of celebrities. So when you was in Spain and you found yourself that Spain is limited for you right now, and you have more ambitions than your country can give you. Tell us a bit about this type of human stuff. Not about professional, but about human.
Yeah, I think obviously that was the main reason why I decided to leave. That was the main reason, and I had several opportunities to do so because my parents moved to the U.S. For a period of time. I didn't actually stay on that very first opportunity, only because you know I was too young. I was 16, and I couldn't find exactly where I fit. But musically speaking, I did find that there was that opportunity, that there was, this was the market, this was the place to be at. And when I went back to Spain, I continued working, actually doing live sound, doing studio work, which I got into the studio work professional because of the live sound. Because, I got some opportunities from doing live sound. People would call me, okay, we're going to have a session, will you be available to do so? We like what you do, how you get sounds, how you, your aesthetic of how you do things. And I started to get those opportunities. Not necessarily production opportunities, but more like engineering opportunities. Because back then, production was very elusive. It was one of those things that, what does it really mean? It takes you a long time to really understand it.
Yeah,
what
but it
it
still
really
was
is.
in Spain, or it was already in US?
This was in Spain. This was in Spain.
Let me translate, because it's
Mhm.
long sentences.
Yeah.
Я спросил у Рафы, чтобы он рассказал немного о своем именно человеческом опыте, его как личности, о том периоде, когда он решил, что Испания немного начала ограничивать его, и у него есть больше амбиций, чтобы делать большие проекты. И он говорит, действительно, в какой-то момент Испания начала его ограничивать, но он говорит, что его родители в какой-то момент переехали в Соединенные Штаты, но он не ухватился за эту возможность сразу же. Ему было 16 лет, и он решил немного задержаться в Испании. Вот он рассказывает, что он работал как фолк-инженер в лайв-саунде, то есть в живом звуке, и благодаря этому он получил возможности работать в студии. Ребята нанимали его, потому что у него уже был опыт живого инженера. И вот в то время, когда это было, много лет назад, люди очень много внимания уделяли продакшену, то есть он должен был что-то значить, и вот в этой атмосфере как раз Рафа и развивался. Sorry, I'm trying to blah blah in Russian very quickly.
No, it's fine. It's cool. It's cool.
Not cut time from you. It's a downside of the like simultaneous translation, but
No worries, no worries. I'm
yeah,
following. I'm following.
Okay, great. And as I understood, and as I see from your face, you start understanding like the main concept of what
Yeah.
I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
you're adapting to Russian, and I found
Very quickly.
yes, definitely, and I found such a stuff for a lot of sound engineers, because we're as a professionals adapted to really listen to music, whatever language will it be, because
Yeah.
I'm mixing a lot of Japanese songs really from South Korea, while I'm like I know only one or two words in Japanese,
Yes.
but when I hear a song, I really understand. I'm like honest here. I really understand what this means. I don't understand words, but I really understand the emotion. And it looks like you understand what is going on in Russia.
I try.
Definitely. Okay, you can continue. So you're in Spain, you're working on live shows, you're working in studio, and when things start become broken and become difficult for you.
No, it was more a matter of ambition. Not that I wasn't doing either good or I wasn't. I actually had amazing opportunities. My first big mentor in the industry was in Spain. A very good friend. Ever since, Jose Angel Serrano, he gave me my first opportunities, with his live sound company. He made me basically the main guy operating the whole company at some point. And I was super young. I was a rookie. I was like super young. And he saw something in me and said like, I can really definitely trust you. And he gave me those responsibilities. And he was the first one to accept when I told him, even though I'm getting like these amazing opportunities, this might be too small for the kind of ambition I have. I had the ambition of working with some of the big names, of one day working with Stevie Wonder, which I ended up doing, right? Or working with, I don't know, Rolling Stones, or working with, I had those kind of ambitions. I had that interest on other music that I knew wasn't going to be accessible where I was in Spain.
Okay, but with Jose, with your mentor, you was in Spain. So Yeah, okay, great.
I was in Spain.
Um, yeah. Рафа говорит, что в какой-то момент вот у него появилось намного больше амбиций, чем Испания могла ему дать, несмотря на то, что он работал с Хосе Хальсерани, если я правильно произношу это имя. Это самый первый ментор Рафы, который дал много возможностей, дал много ответственности Рафы делать звук, решать многие вещи. И он помог ему расти. А Рафа говорит, вообще тогда пацаном был, то есть совсем юным, совсем зеленым. И столько возможностей открылось. Но у него всегда, у Рафы, было желание работать с Rolling Stones, работать со Стиви Вандером, работать со всеми этими артистами. И тут вопрос доступности. То есть чтобы работать с этими артистами, нужно быть там, где эти артисты. So, about accessibility, you mean that if you want to work with such an artist like Stevie Wonder, like Michael Jackson, like you name it, Beyoncé, Lady Gaga, you have to be there where these artists really work. So
yeah, definitely. It's that simple. I think at least you have to be in that environment. You have to be around that environment, around those type of studios, producers, arrangers, you name it. I mean, you have to be around that whole environment. And that's when I decided, I needed to make a move. And obviously, every time I moved from one place to another and I took new opportunities, it meant starting from scratch, starting from zero again. And here's the other thing I tell people, your desire has to be big enough, has to be huge in order to be willing to make those changes over and over again, especially when you are already comfortable. I mean, you have a great position, or you built into a great position, and you built into a very comfort, you develop this comfort zone for yourself. And for the same reason, I work on different projects and new projects, and I don't like to do the same over and over again. I mean, I think that comfort is the enemy of great things.
Oh, okay.
Comfort is great for doing good things, but it is the enemy of great things.
Окей, yeah, I see. Я спросил у Рафы, и вот если он хочет работать с такими артистами, как Стиви Вандер, как Майкл Джексон, как Rolling Stones и другие, нужно просто находиться там, где артисты. Я спросил, все настолько просто? Он говорит, да, все очень просто, но тут он говорит, все еще зависит от масштаба самого человека. Вот Рафа чувствует в себе много потенциала для различных проектов. И вот он рассказал интересную тему, что комфорт — это враг шикарных вещей. То есть комфорт может помочь тебе создать хорошие вещи, но шикарные вещи, обалденные вещи, вот это комфорт уничтожает. И вот он говорит, что ты работаешь, строишь что-то, уже, кажется, что-то построил, и вот он говорит касательно себя, что он в любой из моментов, когда чувствует энергию, он двигается дальше, несмотря на все свои предыдущие заслуги. И это помогло ему переехать в США, начать работать в Америке, несмотря на то, что в Испании он преуспел. So, you've succeed in Spain, you've like become a recognizable producer, you're like become the person which people understand that you can mix, you can produce, you can do folk, you can do everything, and you're a professional. And you decided to move to US. When it was?
I wasn't actually that recognized. I mean, I was doing great. I was doing good. It was the beginning of my career, obviously, but it wasn't like I was established, not at all. But I was in the right path. I mean, I could have just very easily stayed there and made a great living or a comfortable living, which is the word I hate, comfortable, I think that, but
we're all in comfort right now. Definitely. In quarantine and all this crap.
Yes. But I decided to move, and I decided, to take my chances and risk as much as I needed to risk, to be part of that and to be in that environment. And I moved to the US, and I will never forget when I came to LA it was a February, I think it was 90 or 91. And I had some interviews, and I decided to go to the top 3 studios. And I was like, no, I'm not applying to any other studio. I mean, it's gotta be like the top. I made a list of the top 10 in the country. Okay. And I was like, it's gotta be like these ones. And I remember that Ocean Wave Recording was in the cover of Mix magazine. And there was a big article with Alan Sides. Or yes, I think it had been like a few months earlier or something like that. And I was like, and then I got obsessed with it. I was like, out of all of the places that I applied for, which were like great, like Westlake Audio, like a record plant, I was like, no, it's gotta be Ocean Wave Recording. You know, it had like the kind of clientele they had, even in rock music, the new rock music and all of the new type of albums were being produced there. I mean, every single one. I mean, it was crazy. I mean, not just Rolling Stones and this type of bands, but the new bands, you know, the Red Hot Chili Peppers and the Black Crowes and you name it, everything was happening there. And I just decided to go for it. And I had a meeting actually with the general manager. And during that meeting, I thought I was a great candidate because I thought I knew more than I even realize now that I truly knew. But he basically turned me down. He said, like, I didn't have enough experience from his perspective, from his point of view. And I tried to convince him, and he was kind of like, to no avail. And I remember leaving that office, and this is true, what happened. I went back. After leaving the office, after he dismissed me, he said, like, okay, call me in a year or whenever, you know, see how you go with your life and your career. And I remember I knocked and went back in and said, like, you don't understand. I need to work here. I need to start. And he actually offered me to start working the following day. And I couldn't do it. And I couldn't do it because I had to go back to Florida to grab my stuff because I had been living there temporarily for a brief period of time. So I started like 2 months later. We set a date and I started like 2 months later.
Okay, incredible story. Сейчас я попытаюсь все это в голове сложить. Рафа говорит, что когда он решил переехать в Америку, он решил для себя, что он будет работать в одной из 3 лучших студий. Ну, по крайней мере, в одной из 10 лучших студий страны. И он говорит, что у него был журнал Mix Magazine, на обложке которого была студия Ocean Way с Аланом на переднем плане. И Рафа решил, что я буду работать здесь. То есть, чтобы вы понимали, это был 90-91 года. Рафа переезжал в феврале. То есть, это то время, когда Ocean Way была на пике своей популярности. Это была студия студий. То есть, все записывались там. И не только старые группы, а и новые группы, типа Red Hot Chili Peppers и многих других. И Рафа решил, что все, я буду работать там. И когда он приехал, начал проходить интервью, собеседование с менеджером на студии, с генеральным менеджером. Говорит, я его уговаривал и рассказывал ему, ну не уговаривал, а рассказывал, что я умею все, я знаю все. Говорит, в то время он даже думал, что он знает больше, чем сейчас он знает, спустя много лет. И вот с такой отдачей, с таким отношением он пришел устраиваться на работу. HR в Ocean Way, то есть генеральный менеджер там, сказал, что нет, ну, это все не то. И Рафа вышел из студии, сказал, ну да, ну можете позвонить мне через год, там, когда-нибудь, с ощущением, что он сюда не вернется. Но потом, насколько я понял, если я правильно понял, он таки решил, что да, я должен быть здесь. И на следующий день вот этот, кто собеседовал Рафу, парень, позвонил ему и сказал, что все, давай, иди на работу. А Рафа сказал, а я не могу, у меня еще тут дела, ему нужно было свои вещи забрать из Флориды, где он жил временно, и он говорит, что начал работать на Ocean Way через 2 месяца после того дня, когда ему предложили работать. So, Rafa, I quickly collapsed everything into the like short segment, short a piece
Yeah.
of the pie, but it's an incredible story, really. So you've started working on Ocean Way, and how do you feel yourself there? Was it impression that you're where you have to be, or it was just a bit of disappointment?
No, it really felt like it was the place to be. I remember from the first week, you know, there were the orchestral sessions for the Oscars, you know, for the Academy Awards. And then next thing you're working, as I mentioned, you know, with Rolling Stones, or you are working with, you name it, really, with Eric Clapton, and then you're working with Rod Stewart, and then, Barry White, and next thing you're working with Michael Jackson, and you're working with Quincy Jones. And it was like that every day, every week, every month. It really was that kind of a special place. Lots of orchestral dates too, which I'm very, very thankful for, because there was a lot of orchestral work. Four of the 9 studios were big enough to record an orchestra, you know, and big bands, you know, like jazz, big bands, things like that, like big ensembles. So we did that continuously, record like really big ensembles, you know, big projects, the GRP All-Star Band, you know, with 45 musicians, you know, things like that. Things that even back in the day, even though those types of music and recordings were more common, more usual, even then, that level of continuous experience with that kind of music, like every other day, was very, very unique.
Окей. Я спросил у Рафы, как он чувствовал себя. Он находится на своем месте или это было разочарование, работа на Ocean Way? Рафа говорит, это был невероятный опыт, и он чувствовал себя на своем месте. На Ocean Way 9 студий, и они все время работали. То есть в одной студии записывается Барри Уайт, рядом Майкл Джексон, Квинси Джонс, оркестровые записи. Тут записываются для Оскара вещи. То есть очень много вещей происходило. И Рафа очень благодарен вот этому опыту работы в Ocean Way, в первую очередь за то, что он смог поработать с оркестрами, с биг-бендами. То есть студия достаточно большая была для вот таких проектов. И каждый день что-то интересное происходило. И это был шикарный опыт для него. Okay, Rafa, so in Ocean Way, you just start becoming a bigger and better producer and engineer, first of all. Not recognizable first, but better as a professional. But when you feel that you start become recognizable, so people start hiring you because of your taste, not because you're just a guy in Ocean Way Studio, a staff.
No,
but because
because it doesn't quite matter if you are even in the greatest place in the world. People are looking for a very specific thing about you. People are looking for something very specific about you. And I think that you start recognizing there is a change, and there is something is really going on when people start asking for you. People start saying like, okay, I want to book this room, but if Rafa is available, I want to do it with Rafa. You know, that's when you start. And then again, even clients start like taking you away, saying like, okay, I'm going to be doing this other project over there in this other studio. Are you available? You know, what will it take for you to do, you know, and even very, very early on, I started traveling quite a bit, and I did projects in New York, I did projects in New Orleans, in San Francisco. I mean, you name it, San Diego. I mean, I started like actually being called to do things even in other cities, other places. So I think that's when you start. You is the first cue you get. Okay, people really want what I have, or what I have to say, or what I have to what I provide to them.
Okay, yeah.
It must be different from what other people give them. So that's what you have to create. You have to be able to recognize what makes you distinct, and honey that distinction. Work on that the distinction. Know why do they think I'm special for the project?
Окей, I see. Я спросил у Рафы, как он вот понял, что люди не просто вот используют его навыки, потому что он работает на студии, а нанимают именно его как профессионала. Рафа говорит, что в какой-то момент вот происходит тот момент, когда люди начинают говорить, что я хочу забронировать вот эту студию, и Рафа свободен, я хочу работать с ним. Потому что они чувствуют, что определенный продюсер, определенный инженер может дать что-то их музыке. Это не какая-то случайная тема, а что-то очень особенное могут принести в их работы. И Рафа говорит, что в какой-то момент с Ocean Way его начали приглашать не только работать здесь, на студии, но и в других городах. Он работал с артистами в Нью-Йорке, Сан-Франциско, Сан-Диего, Нью-Орлеан и во многих других городах. То есть люди начали обращать внимание на что-то внутри него, что-то вот артистичное внутри него. Okay, Rafa, and maybe you remember what was the first project when people just bring their bodies like near your face and say, Rafa, we like what you do, we feeling that you feel things in the same way, and you can't like distract from this opportunity, just book us and we will be working together.
Well, I mean, actually, there were a couple, and in different fields. For example, I had never worked in Latin music before, even though I speak Spanish. I have a obviously Latino background. I'm from Spain originally, but guess what? I had never worked on my first years. I had never worked on any Latin stuff at all. Period.
It's impossible.
Not at all. It was just other types of music. I worked with the Red Hot Chili Peppers and those bands I mentioned. Black Crowes, Counting Crows, Rod Stewart. I mean, all kinds of different projects, and even R&B stuff. But then I started working with quite a few, R&B artists and things like that. And there were actually some people in the production teams that watch me and say like, wow, I really like how you do things, or how, and sometimes it was because there was no preconception. I did them different than maybe other people because I was no specialist. I didn't have like a specific formula. This is how you do it. This is how you build the beat from. No, I was just like, I had my own method, my own particular way of hearing music. And they liked that. They appreciated that. For some reason, they were like, wow, okay, let's work on this other project I have. And that's how I started, doing projects. But obviously, you need some of those, as you mentioned, like big clients, people that go like, okay. And to me, it was basically not just projects, but some producers, like Camila Cabello, who was the musical director for Dr. Dre, and all of those, I mean, Mary J. Blige, I mean, you name it, all of those, R&B artists and rap artists, he started hiring me for everything that he will do, every single project that he will do. And we work on so many things together. And then there was also a Latin artist, Luis Miguel, who just wanted to work with me. And basically, for example, with Luis Miguel, I ended up doing like 10 productions, 10 different projects over a long span of time.
Yeah, and these productions are really incredible. When I heard from different years, by the way, they are different, but they are great in different manner. And I see how you evolving as an engineer, how your test evolving, and from year after year, it like changing and gravitating from the raw energy into something more intimate, more deep and more mindful, if you understand what I mean. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
so you can really understand how Louis changing year after year, but as well as his engineer changing year after year, because all these things are changing fluently, and that's really a very interesting journey. Okay, let me translate. Рафа говорит, что в первые свои годы на Ocean Way он вообще не работал с латинской музыкой, несмотря на то, что он испанец, испаноязычный парень. Говорит, он занимался в основном поп, R&B музыкой. И первые его работы, которые уже были конкретно вот работы Рафы, то есть его нанимали за его вкус, за его видение, за его звук. Это были работы с продюсерами Камбан, если я правильно произношу. Это продюсер доктор Родри и Джей Блайндж, еще один продюсер. И потом Рафа познакомился и начал плотно работать с Луисом Мигелем, с которым он сделал 10 продакшенов альбомов. И я поделился своими впечатлениями, что за время, как вот эти альбомы выходили, ясно слышно, как из вот такой живой необузанной энергии и Луис, и Рафа трансформировали ту же, по сути, музыку во что-то более интимное, более глубокое, более такое глубокомысленное. И это очень, очень крутые вещи. То есть можно проследить эволюцию и артистов, и звукорежиссера за все это время. Rafa, your works are inspired by emotions. You can understand that from the first second you just start play back anything. And such an emotional content you're bringing into interesting technological domain. So you're using technology not to destroy emotions and not to distract emotions or exclude emotions from the pop music, like as a lot of engineers do right now, because of trends and because of other stuff, trying to be competitive, not trying to be innovative or things like that. But your music are fully emotional, and you're using technology in such a way. How you feel technology helping you in that, and is it really helps you, or you really don't care about all this stuff? And
no, I think technology really helps, but it only helps if you are connected, if your mind and your heart are connected to your ideas. I mean, you have to use technology to fulfill your ideas, but not the other way around. You cannot, you should never fall a victim of technology. Like just do things because the technology dictates, that's the thing to do, or because there is this new compressor, multi-band compressor that does this, you put it on everything, and then you drain what differentiates one thing from another, one instrument from another, or one concept from another. You start like equalizing everything. Do you know what I mean? Like making everything equal, making everything the same. I think that you should use technology the other way around. I mean, when I'm working on a mix, for example, or any production, but for example, to give you an example for mixing, when I use technology, I'm already imagining what that plugin is going to do. And if it doesn't do it immediately, I move on and I come out with the next idea, but I don't get stuck into thinking, no, but that's what everybody's using to make the vocal feel like this. Like, no, but you have to recognize if it's happening or not, and if it is part of your vision or it is not, if it's fulfilling your vision and emotion. And then another hidden secret that nobody talks about. It's how to create dynamics and movement in a mix as part of the emotion that the music must have. You know, not everything should stay static, all the same. Maybe for a specific kind of song that works, but for most music, you have to automate, you have to move things around, you have to leave room for other instruments, you have to create like a question and answer kind of dialogue between instruments and the vocalist, and that you can only do when you connect with the song. You know,
Okay.
you bring that artistic side from, you know, inside of you, and you connected with the use of technology and the use of your tools.
Окей, incredible answer. Thanks a lot for that. Я спросил у Рафы, как он чувствует, технологии помогают ему эмоционально присоединяться к музыке, потому что его работы преисполнены вот этой эмоциональностью, живостью, непредсказуемостью. Он не упирается в рамки трендов и не старается сделать работы, как кто-то еще. То есть у него всегда свое какое-то видение. И Рафа говорит, действительно, он использует технологии не с точки зрения, что все должно быть одинаково, все должно быть эквализировано. Нет, он использует технологию другим образом. То есть он на основе эмоций, которые он чувствует при соединении с музыкой, придумывает идею в своей голове. И вот эту идею с помощью технологии он как раз и воплощает в микс. И вот он говорит, я могу выбрать какой-нибудь компрессор, и я представляю, как он должен звучать. Если я его включаю, и он не звучит, я выключаю его и пробую другую идею. То есть не застрю на каких-то вот этих моментах, чтобы и весь процесс работы с музыкой был живым и не вот таким застряющим. И Рафа вот тут тоже интересный момент обозначил, что он не старается сделать микс статичным, то есть он добавляет автоматизацию, чтобы микс жил, чтобы вещи развивались. Все не должно быть каким-то абсолютно пресным и вот стоять, где стоит. Нет, все должно жить. И вот он говорит, да, есть миксы, в которых надо все стабилизировать, все устаканить, но большинство миксов, они требуют какого-то вот такого разнообразия. И он пытается это разнообразие в миксы внести. As I know and as I saw in your Waves masterclass, for example, you're using a lot of special processing, but not just stereo widening because you have the tool. You're using standard stuff like panning. You can pan something on one side and leave another side alone. So you have an asymmetrical mix and you're even not bothered about that. Because if the audience have to hear something here, you will put this instrument here. And even if it would be not in perfect balance, if we will use such a terminology, but it will be in a perfect emotional balance to the music, you will do that, and you are not scared at all about that. And this really inspires me, Rafa. So it's just incredible. Tell us a bit about how you feel about all this stuff, where you just start doing something like differently.
Yeah. I think that's when I started like really trusting my intuition, you know, really trusting what somehow is like you are illuminated, like you are listening to something and then you know it has to be there. You, for some reason, you know, oh, it's gotta be there, or it's gotta be like right here. It just feels right. It's, you know, your intuition telling you that really works for the song. That really works for the message of the song and the emotion of the song. And you start doing things like that continuously. It's not just like once in a while you do something because you follow your intuition. No, it's like 100% of the time you do things because you follow your intuition. And even like, for example, I was mixing something the other day and the kick was like super ultra loud, and the artist wasn't expecting it at all because they were expecting something like, but for some reason, you know, I spotted like this, that what the kick was doing with the beat in that specific moment, and then I amplify it even more with some plugins and extending the release of it and whatnot. What I found was that it was creating like this contrast with the vocal, with the message of the vocal that was just made it like so freaking emotional. But I'm telling you, like when the artist listened to it for the first time, she thought it was a freaking mistake. She thought like, oh, something went wacko in the mix. I mean, something, like a Pro Tools kind of problem, like something went like really bad. And then she asked me, okay, so, oh God, she went like, you're gonna change, I mean, do whatever you need to do, change it. And I was like, change what? I said like, no, I mean, like the kick thing is like, and I just told her, I love it. I did it purposely. And she's like, oh, really? And then she started thinking herself and said like, I really like it too. But she didn't know what to make out of it. See, the first time she listened to it, because she was so accustomed, so used to what she gave me to mix, that was so distant from that she didn't know what to make out of it. Even her own intellect was fighting against it. Her intellect was telling her it must be a mistake. Yeah. She wasn't even thinking if she loved it or not. And it ended up being that way. We left it that way, and she ended up like freaking loving it. I think that when we're producing and when we're mixing and when we're engineering, our intuition is not just to follow the path of what we're given, but it's also to spot opportunities that other people don't see. I think that's what makes you good as a producer, as an engineer, as a mixer, especially. You have to learn to spot opportunities that other people dismiss. They are so used to hearing, the different elements of their music that they don't see it anymore. And I think it's your job to do that.
Okay, incredible answer, and I will continue buggling on this topic after the translation.
Mm-hmm.
Рафа говорит, когда я его спросил, как у него вот так получается забить на все правила, и если какой-то инструмент громкий должен стоять вот здесь, то он возьмет его и поставит. Как он делает так, чтобы миксы были асимметричными и вообще не парится по поводу того, что скажут артисты. И он говорит, что все дело в интуиции. Он развивал вот эту свою музыкальную интуицию годами. То есть он слушает песню, и вот он чувствует, что если вот этот элемент нужно выделить, то он возьмет его и выделить. Он привел пример с одной песней, в которой нужно было сделать очень громкую бочку. И эта бочка создавала правильный грув с треком, но она была очень громкой. И когда артистка пришла послушать, она говорит, что-то неправильно с твоим миксом, то есть какая-то ошибка. А Рафа говорит, нет, я сделал это специально. И она такая, блин, давай исправим, а потом Рафа говорит, нет, мне нравится. Она такая, и мне тоже это нравится. И вот такие вещи, они постоянно происходят. То есть люди привыкли слышать вещи каким-то определенным образом, но работа Рафы заключается в том, чтобы не идти за определенными вещами, а найти в песнях, в композициях те элементы, которые должны прозвучать. И если это будет что-то непривычное, что-то необычное, он не будет париться по этому поводу, он возьмет и сделает. И это на самом деле очень круто. Но двигателем этого всего является его музыкальная интуиция. So, Rafa, when we speak about your intuition, do you use it only for musical kind of purposes and for musical stuff? Or are you using it for example, accepting or declining a project with a client, accepting or declining an opportunity, life opportunity, work opportunity, and things like that. So how does it interfere, or it's just two different intuitions for you?
No, I think that they are very similar. I think that they are quite similar. They are seated in the same, in your same philosophies about things, about life, about what's important. I think that, for example, us as music creators, people that work with music, people that work with something very artistic, we have a tendency to be also very emotional, also very, we do things all the way, or we don't do them at all. We have that kind of attitude, and I do have the kind of attitude for all the things too, and not just for not just for mixing or not just for producing. I think that we feel that things need to touch us. We really need to feel those things. Like, for example, I have many other interests in my life. Also, music technology having to do with manufacturing, things like that, where I'm also involved with. I have interest in wine, the wine world, producing wine, making wine, things like that. And all of those endeavors are also very intuitive. They're based on the same kind of responses and reactions. When something is worth doing or not. And also, you have to be able to recognize when you arrive to something good. Just because what happens with most people is that they're offered, like they're working on something, and something amazing happens in front of their eyes, and they don't see it, and they just let it go. It just passes by, and this goes away. That chance, that opportunity is gone.
Okay.
And it happens with music too, with music production, the same way.
Oh, awesome. Let me translate and we will continue. This is incredibly interesting topic, and today my main opportunity for this conversation is not more about like which frequency you will use for the vocal, which compression you will use for anything. It's we know everything about that. We have all these tutorials. We have all the schools, SAE, Berkeley, Abbey Roads. We have all the local schools. We understand everything about that. But what is the most interesting in such a conversation is a human thing, emotional thing, intuitive stuff. And this is an incredible topic to discuss. I hope for you as well.
Absolutely.
Let me translate and we will continue. Я спросил у Рафы, он использует свою интуицию только для принятия каких-то музыкальных решений, или он использует ее для выбора проектов, выбора клиентов, для решения разных жизненных ситуаций. И Рафа говорит, что интуиция жестко привязана у него к эмоциям, и он говорит, что мы, люди, артисты, продюсеры, мы можем быть очень эмоциональными. Типа, все, пошли все нахрен, и прошу прощения за такие выражения, но и все, и забить на вещи. Но можем быть более спокойными и как-то решать вещи попроще. Но вот Рафа говорит, что вот эта вся интуитивная, эмоциональная тема, она распространяется на все. Например, ему очень интересно производство вина. То есть он сильно вовлечен в этот процесс, и это тоже вот часть искусства, это тоже часть вещей, которые вот эмоциональный этот контекст конвертируют. И вот Рафа рассказал, что еще очень важный момент — это видеть, что ты прибыл в точку какую-то важную и хорошую в своей жизни. И в точку, где есть какая-то классная возможность. Потому что он объяснил так, что многие люди, возможность проплывает возле них, и они просто не видят ее, не замечают, и проходят стороной. И вот это проблемный момент. И вот эта тема как раз за счет эмоций и интуиции, насколько я понял, развивается. It's really great. And, you've mentioned wine. And a lot of guys here in East Europe, I mean, sound engineers, really involved in alcohol production, wine, vodka, moonshine, and we have legal moonshine here in our country, so you can even produce moonshine manufacturally. And people really trying different recipes, mixing rectificates with distilled spirits is different stuff, trying to using different flavors, different berries, mushrooms, and stuff like that, basilic, different stuff to just flavor that kind of stuff. And like a spiritus production is additional art for the East European countries, because we're all fighting with each other, not fighting but competing, who will produce a better spirit. And for example, in US, standards for the spiritus are much lower than here, because we're competing, we're trying to emotionally be included in that. My spiritus cleaner and yours are just a dirty piece of crap and things like that. So I totally understand what are you describing. But people asking in the chat, we're slowly moving to the end. I don't want to hold you more.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
More than I want to be, and you will be comfortable with. So I'm trying to stay on that edge. So people see that you're surrounded with a lot of hardware stuff. But as I know, and as I saw from, for example, your Waves masterclass, or from what you're talking about for Mix with the Masters, for example, you don't give a heck about all this stuff at all, because you can mix on everything, because emotional driving you. But in which direction analog hardware still helping you? It's a part of your history, or it's something else?
To me, the hardware has, all of this gear I have collected over the past 25 years. So it's not like something I just acquired, and for the same reason, it is an acquired taste. It's things that have been around me and have helped me, get into very specific types of sounds very effectively, very quickly, because of, being hardware. You can just touch it, do it, done. It doesn't mean I cannot do it in the box.
Definitely.
And of course, you do it. You do whatever. You imagine the sound and you go for it. You go hunt it. You go to war, you go looking for it. So it doesn't truly matter. For me, I just have the luxury of having access to it. A lot of it is vintage stuff. A couple of things are actually fairly new, but based on older technology, like for example, my vacuum box compressors, which are like new, but they're like so freaking special. They do something that's so freaking special, for example, the same with my analog tube, it's on the side. You cannot see it, but my analog tube, Fairchild style, compressor, or my esoteric audio research compressors, they do something very specific, very special. Does it mean that I couldn't look for something in the same vein, using plugins? Of course, but I have it here, and it also helps me interface with my analog board, because I have a big SSL. It's analog, and it's also a digital controller for in-the-box mixing. So it is both things, both worlds. And it helps me actually use some of that analog gear interface with my analog board. So it's a matter of double convenience.
Okay.
For me, I'm lucky enough that I have the best of both worlds,
Okay, I see. Are you using duality in your studio? You've mentioned that it's a half digital.
Yeah, it's a duality. Yeah, it's called an SSL, solid state logic duality.
Yeah.
SSL duality.
I see that it's an SSL, but it's an AWS or duality.
No, it's a duality. It's a 48-channel duality. Yeah.
Окей, I see. Я увидел вопрос в чате касательно железок, что у Рафа очень много железок, и я спросил у Рафы, они ему помогают как-то делать его звук, он без них не может обходиться. И вспомнил то, что вот буквально на днях смотрел мастер-класс с Рафой для Waves, где он показывал сведение только плагинами, и микс звучал офигенно. То есть такое впечатление, что Рафе безразлично. Он сводит плагины, железо, неважно. И он говорит, что тут двойная вот такая тема. В течение последних 25 лет он собирал все вот это оборудование, некоторые винтажные, некоторые новые. Вот он назвал новый Varimu компрессор, который у него есть, потом аналог Fairchild тоже новый, и парочку мы видим в реке сзади Esoteric Audio Research компрессоров 670-х. То есть и старые, и новые вещи. И это все соединено с его консолью SSL Duality, которая выполняет и цифровое управление, и в то же время она аналоговая. Рафа говорит, что аналоговое оборудование позволяет ему работать супер быстро. То есть он покрутил ручкой и движется дальше. То есть он придумал идею, и аналоговое оборудование сразу помогло ее реализовать. Но при этом он использует и много плагинов. И вот он находится в той ситуации, он говорит, что он удачлив в этом плане, что он может использовать лучшее из обоих миров. И это очень круто. So, as I understand, you're not just hesitating to use plugins. If they need it, you will use plugins. If your imagination telling you that you have to patch in some type of analog compressor or analog EQ, you will do that. So what will serve your idea you're using, not what you're thinking that will be fancy. Because let me describe it. When people see the rack of analog gear around persons, they thinking that it's like a heaven and a thing which giving you opportunity to mix better. But what I found myself, that analog gear giving you zero opportunity to mix better if you're not thinking how to mix better with it. And
you
I
can
heard,
even make it more difficult.
Definitely. And I
If
heard
you're
a
not
lot of
organized,
mixes,
and yeah,
crappy mixes from analog boards, and some analog boards which are not recapped properly or things like that, or have some kind of crosstalk issues or different headroom issues. I heard a lot of such boards, and I really prefer plugins instead of such boards, because if it looks fancy and cool, it not means that it will sound fancy and cool.
absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So if you will have to be fully in the box, will it be disadvantage for you? It will be not comfortable, or totally okay? How do you
No,
feel?
it'll be totally okay. You know, some of the albums I have actually that have been more regarded, even in my past career, even early, like I'm talking like almost 20 years ago. A couple of those I did almost entirely in the box,
Wow.
or 50 years ago. So most of it was done in the box or with very little resources. So, and some of those people still talk about like, oh, that sound, you know, they're like, and they truly believe it was like a big studio, big analog. It has nothing to do with that. I had a very specific vision when I was doing that project. For example, one of them I did in Colombia, in a faraway city in the middle of nowhere, and we even recorded most of it in a regular bedroom type of environment, in the studios that were not, they call them studios, one of them, and it was just like a house with two small rooms, and it's like, so this is the control. It's like, yeah, whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like they just tag it like being, it's a studio. But we made it happen. We made it work because we had a vision about the sounds, how specific things needed to sound. So if you put the microphone thin and it's not what you're looking for, you don't stop moving it till you find it. And if you need to use, you know, plugins in a non-traditional kind of way, or filtering way too much on this and that, if that's what your heart tells you you need to do, you just do it. That's the big disadvantage very often of looking into meters, looking into graphics. People
Yeah.
think that because the graphic says I did this, I did too much or I did too little. And they are not trusting their ears. It's the typical example of you EQing something like crazy and go like, oh, a tiny bit more. Oh, that's 22 dBs. Oh, but I can hear it, but I can't hear it that much, but yeah, I can hear it. And then you realize you are EQing the wrong channel. You are not even listening to that one. But your brain is telling you, oh no, something is happening. Not as much as I thought it would be happening, but something is happening. And you are fooling yourself.
Yeah, but there were a couple of researchers from biology and neuro biology type of institutions when people really thinks about something and brain modulates all this stuff for ears, for tongue, for your nose, for things like that. So when you're EQing something, you're fooling yourself, but it is not always that you're not hearing a difference, because our brain is so powerful machine, so it can modulate everything, and such perspectives which we see, they are all generated from the brain. But it's an interesting stuff. Let me translate. Рафа рассказывал касательно того, может ли он работать полностью в компьютере и отказаться от аналогового оборудования. Говорит, вообще без проблем. Многие альбомы 12 лет, 15 лет назад он сводил полностью на компьютере. И он не обязательно будет записывать артистов в какой-то супер фэнси крутой студии, а он может записывать это в обычном доме, где одна комната обозначили, это будет контрольная, а вот это будет комната для записи. Он говорит, ну ладно, фиг с ним, то есть мы тут будем работать. И главное, что музыкально получается из этого раздобыть. И Рафа тоже говорит, что сейчас люди очень сильно заточены на визуальное восприятие процесса звукорежиссуры. То есть смотрят на графики, на какие-то вещи и крутят что-нибудь, о, это слишком много, начинают ослаблять. А он говорит, в аналоге такого нет. И ты можешь крутить сколько угодно, но первое, что доверять ушам, а не графикам и измерителям, всяким спектральным анализаторам. И вот тоже интересный момент Рафа рассказал касательно эквализации. Говорит, ты на одном канале добавил там 20 дБ эквализации и такой, да, действительно в звуке что-то меняется, а потом посмотрел, что ты не тот канал эквализировал, с которым работаешь, а канал, который рядом. Ну и я поделился с Рафой с темами, о которых я уже говорил на предыдущих наших стримах, что были исследования, нейробиологи проводили касательно того, как мозг может модулировать наши ощущения, наш слух, наши вкусовые рецепторы, нос. В общем, все это очень интересная тема, и она подвязана вот как раз к нашему восприятию. So, in this direction, we have a brain which can interpret our emotions, can generate emotions. We have a brain which can interpret our feelings, our intuition, our perception, our intentions, and our advantages and disadvantages. So we have a brain which is something unique, and every single person have unique brain, which every of such a person's either you or either me or either whatever, everybody, we're trying to do something. So the main question is, Rafa, what are you doing here? I mean, globally. What do you feel about yourself? What are you doing here?
I feel that obviously there are two things that I feel that as humans, need to happen for each individual. I think that you have to fulfill your what you think is your path in life. I think that you have to fulfill, your happiness, your path. But I think that there is a second purpose. I think that you have to also fulfill the bigger good of the people that surround you. It starts with your family, follows with your friends, with your work, with your colleagues, with everybody that you affect. because there is no, it is very, very obvious. We affect our surroundings and everybody we know by our actions, by every single thing that we do, by our decisions, and so as in a human level, personal level, that's how I feel, like those two different projections of what I do. And one of them, even professionally, people say like, oh, but who cares what, there are actually some people who don't really care enough about what they do, even professionally. They think it's just good enough, or it's like, oh, screw them, it's good enough for them, or whatever, without really realizing, the extra factors of what happens behind that story. Every project is a story. Every project has, the human factor, they have people with their own dreams, okay? And you could be fulfilling their dreams or shattering their dreams by not being good enough for the project, not putting enough effort. So I always appreciated that. And it's not a matter of just taking things too seriously, but because I follow my motto of when I'm convinced about something, I just go, fuck it. I just do it regardless, but always with that empathy. Empathy is everything. We need to have empathy about how they feel about things, even though we need to use our ego to say like, no, but this is best for the project. I'm telling you, this is best, or this is the best line of action. Don't misinterpret. I'm not bullying the situation. It's just that I really feel strong about it. But on the other hand, we have to be empathetic about how it's affecting them, and understanding, empathy allows you to understand people.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not just agreeing with people. People think that by being empathetic, you are a person that agrees to everything. No, not at all. I don't agree with a lot of things. And I want to have my say on the project and on how things happen. But I have empathy so I can understand them, and I know where they are coming from and how it's affecting them. So,
Okay, sounds really cool. Sounds really difficult, deep, and sophisticated, but I understand that. Я спросил у Рафы, вот у каждого из нас есть свой мозг, свои чувства, свои переживания, свои эмоции, то есть свое общее ощущение касательно того, зачем мы в этом мире. И я спросил у Рафы, зачем он в этом мире? И вот он интересный очень ответ дал. Мне тоже нужно будет еще дополнительно пересмотреть вот эту тему, потому что мысли реально глубокие. Но что важного Рафа сказал, что важно заполнить свою жизнь и реально наполнить ее, сделать ее полноценной. Окружить себя людьми, с которыми приятно работать, с семьей, с друзьями, с клиентами, и относиться к проектам с эмпатией, то есть быть вовлеченным в происходящее, быть вовлеченным и в проекты, и в жизни других людей. И вот он привел пример касательно работы, что когда тебе кажется, что вот это самая лучшая тема для проекта, и ты начинаешь людям доказывать, что вот это нужно, и все, и хоть трава не расти, но люди реагируют на это не так, как ты думаешь, что они отреагируют. Это может кого-то обидеть, может кого-то расстроить, задеть. И вот Рафа говорит, что важно иметь эмпатию для того, чтобы понимать вот эти вещи, для того, чтобы реально чувствовать людей. И вот это момент эмпатии, он позволяет как раз наполнять жизнь хорошими вещами. И не быть козлом, не посылать всех в пень, а реально жить среди людей. Он говорит, что есть целая куча вещей, которые его раздражают, которые ему не нравятся, которые его бесят. Но он старается все равно войти в других людей, посмотреть на вещи их глазами. И вот это как раз ядро того, о чем он говорил. It's a very wise and adult, if I can describe it, way of thinking, way of all this mind-boggling and mind-boggling and bugging and things like that. All our bugs in our brains are in a different shades of wiseness, but it looks like your bugs are quite experienced already, and you've seen a lot, and you understand a lot of stuff. And ребята, мы скоро будем уже передвигаться к вашим вопросам, потому что время идет. We will soon be moving to questions from our guys today in chat, and answering on the questions which were forward to me before our stream. And the interesting question which are following what we've discussed now, the question about много ли изменилось формирование звука со времен альбома Lady Gaga Born This Way. Насколько я знаю, Рафа Сардина принимал участие в записи. So the question is, how much has changed in the formation of the sound since Lady Gaga's album Born This Way? As far as I know, Rafa Sardina participated in the recordings. So the question is about the change of the way of thinking and the way of sounding, mostly. Can you say something about that?
I don't think it has changed that much. I truly don't think there has been such a big change. I think that we're always saved by the more temporary fashions of what's happening right now. From one year to the next, something becomes trendy, like a specific element of production element for the most part, that also saves the sonic element of things overall. Like all of a sudden, like the use of more acoustic drum sounds in the beat become fashionable, and then the more electronic kind of thing fades away, and then 3 years later it's back.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't actually say it has changed that much, because it is very specific pieces of the puzzle. It's not like the big concept of the puzzle, really. It's like when I remember, like in the early 90s, when Michael Jackson came with I don't remember which album it was, but all of a sudden the vocals were like super low, like buried in the mix. And some people were thinking, oh my God, what was he thinking, or what was Bruce Swedin thinking when he was mixing it? And then it became a trend for a number of years. A lot of albums started burying the vocals farther in the mix, and because they wanted to follow on that amazing success that album was. If you listen to it these days, you feel a little bit like, oh, but they're like a tiny bit too buried. But it allowed to create a different aesthetic, because you could enjoy the musical element in a different kind of manner, right? That you were not before. But then again, that fashion all of a sudden died and transformed into the next thing. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to those changes, because by the time you are able to understand what's going on, something new is happening. Okay. Something new is happening already. So I think that you should put more effort into creating your own personal new, into doing, okay, I've never done this before, but I have this vision, I have this idea, let me try it. Have a little bit of courage and just do it.
Okay, great. Рафа говорит, что на самом деле за вот это все время принципиально, с его точки зрения, вещи не так сильно поменялись. То есть все заключается в деталях. То есть один год живые барабаны являются трендом, потом электронные барабаны становятся трендом, потом через какое-то время опять живые барабаны. В одной и той же музыке, у одного и того же артиста это все может меняться. То есть вещи меняются слегка, но в общем концепт остается каким-то более-менее цельным. Но он рассказал интересную тему в 90-х, когда Майкл Джексон выпустил, он не помнит какой альбом, где вокал был очень-очень тихо, и народ такой, непонятно, что Брюс Сведин себе думал. Вокал погребен под миксом. Вот это слово Рафа использовал. И потом, через какое-то время, многие другие артисты начали делать так же, потому что это оказалось трендом, это оказалось модно, альбом был очень успешен, и вот эти вещи стали копировать. То есть вот такие изменения могут происходить, но что-то вот, когда тебе кажется, что что-то изменилось кардинально, говорит Рафа, приходят опять новые вещи, и все меняется опять. It was really interesting how the sound of special processing has been changed during the last 2 years. So 2 years ago, for example, gated snares like from Phil Collins to do stuff were quite popular. But recently we heard Billie Eilish stuff, which was like no reverbs or very reverbish and very, very intimate and very, very kind of in the face in such a manner which like slapping you in the face. Not as great, but a lot when you start thinking about that. But when you start feeling that, it really drives you into something very emotional and very interesting, and that's why the Grammy recognized these productions and these type of sounds. But we have 2 years, and 1 year was like to do stuff, and now we have super like boom boom drums.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the trends, move too fast, and it has to be about personal statements. From you as an artist, you as a producer, you as an engineer and mixer. Yeah.
Рафа говорит, что все вот в этом плане, чтобы закончить ответ на этот вопрос, все идет от личной ответственности и личного видения артиста, продюсера, звукорежиссера на тот или иной момент. Все остальное уже детали. Мы немного поговорили касательно того, как за последние 2 года барабаны поменялись от гитированных барабанов типа Фила Коллинса до супер таких in-face барабанов, как у Билли Айлиш, и это все очень быстро происходит, но людям и то нравилось и вызывало определенные эмоции. So, the question which following this, что, по мнению маэстро, характеризует поп-звук сегодняшнего дня? Это вопрос от подписчика. What, according to Maestro, is characterized by the pop sound of today? Maestro, he means you, Rafa Sardina.
What characterizes pop sound of today?
Да, yes.
I think that like I responded before to the Lady Gaga question. It changes so much. It truly does change so much. You listen to what The Weeknd has been doing, also very 80s. With some of the very 80s element. And then you see what Billie Eilish is doing, totally opposite.
Yeah.
I think that we're living right now, this very moment, a point of rediscovery of what's going to be like the new big trend, like that everybody wants to follow for a while. And it might not happen. Hopefully it might not happen. I think that there is a freedom to be had when there is no specific trend. For example, there are albums that I'm mixing that have a lot of reverb and effects and a lot of things, and others that are like, dry in your face as hell. I think it's all the spectrum, and it's all about your musical statement. I truly don't believe there is such a, trend that you can really categorize. If you go project by project, you can start like, these people are doing this other are doing this, but these other are doing just the opposite. And so it will be hard for me to say.
Okay. Incredible response. Рафа говорит, что нет сейчас вот этого, как обозначить, унифицированного поп-звучания. Он говорит, мы сейчас находимся в том моменте, когда происходят одновременно разные вещи. И вот этот момент дает очень много свободы. Можно делать проекты совсем разными. Одни будут с мощным ревером, другие будут совсем сухими. Но может множество вещей происходить одновременно. И вот Рафа говорит, что каждый из артистов может пойти своим собственным путем сейчас. И вот это очень круто. И он говорит, что вот мы находимся сейчас в ожидании какого-то огромного тренда, чего-то большого, мощного. Но, говорит, пока это не происходит, и это шикарная ситуация, в которой можно жить и работать спокойно. You mentioned that you're mixing a pop album near the opera stuff. And what characterized this pop album which you're mixing in terms of sound?
In terms of sound, actually, the one I'm mixing right now is pretty raw, pretty raw. It is pretty raw. It has a lot of beat elements, but a lot of beat elements that come from acoustic sounds, but they're used as a beat. So even like a African tambora kind of like kick kind of thing that it creates, you know, the bass drum, things like that, that it's as I said again, not to create any kind of a specific trend or follow a trend, but it's a musical statement that was created from the production side of things. So from the production's point of view, so you have to dare to be different.
Yeah.
You really have to dare to be different. Otherwise, you unless you is part of your musical statement, unless you know to do like a fully Phil Collins type of sounding thing will be your statement just because you have like a very personal reason to do so,
Yeah.
because of your music. Otherwise, I would say like, why look into it? For example, when I'm having conversation about production, about mixing, about sounds with producers, with artists, obviously you need points of reference. People feel the need to have a point of reference. See, like this song, remember how it sounded that? But I always try to grasp what's behind the comment, not the specific sound, because you think like, you mentioned Phil Collins. I'm going to tell you a story. You're mixing and somebody tells you, oh yeah, because I want my drums to sound like Phil Collins, like you like those gated drums, like pa-pum, 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 that break. And you go like, you're mixing and you have that as a point of reference. So you want that to be emotional, to be big, whatever. It has to be, they tell you it's huge, has to be huge. You make it big and then listen to it and it is huge, right? And it's not big enough for them, right? And you go like, no, it has to be more like, you know, like that Phil Collins break, like, and you grab the song, the WAV file of that specific Phil Collins song, you put it in your Pro Tools session, you line it up, you A/B, you compare, and here comes the break, you listen together, and the break goes like, run, run, and instead of sounding like, bah, 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 it sounds like, with the gated drums, but it sounds like, and then the client goes like, okay. They're the ones that are truly disappointed because of their interpretation of what that meant.
Yeah.
So we have to be
understand.
careful even about points of reference. We have to be very, very careful because what this person was trying to convey was a very personal emotion. Maybe the day that person listened to that song for the first time and really got under his skin, he was like kissing his girlfriend, or who knows, you know, it was like the most emotional moment of his life. Do you know what I mean? It was like something truly unique, or like a very special year of his life, and has that remembrance, has that memory of things, but they don't necessarily translate to something usable in terms of what we need to do. I always say, you know, points of reference are only as good as how you interpret them.
Okay.
You have is the interpretation of that point of reference. It's not even the point of reference itself. You have to understand the story behind the point of reference.
Okay. That's
I know
really
it's a very complicated one.
yeah, that's a really great statement. Anyway, I will translate it compactly, and guys then rewatch it on slower speed, so it will be okay. Anyway, but the story can't be divided by 2 or by 3 pieces. That one was a good one. Рафа рассказал, я сначала спросил Рафу, прошу прощения, я уже немного от переключения между языками запутываюсь, но я спросил у Рафы, какой поп-звук он делает сейчас. Он в начале нашего разговора сказал, что он миксит поп-альбом. Он говорит, очень сырой звук. Много акустических барабанов, которые звучат как африканские барабаны, но они звучат как бит. То есть живой звук, необузданный, сырой, но звучащий очень жестко, как бит. И вот Рафа рассказывал тоже об ощущениях. Вот опять же, все в эмоции перевоплощается здесь. Он рассказал интересный момент касательно референсов. То есть, когда он проводит первую встречу с клиентом, с продюсерами или с артистом, или с тем и с другим, он просит их, чтобы они рассказали о проекте и дали какие-то референсы. И вот он говорит, мы про звук Фила Коллинса с его гитированными томами заговорили. Он говорит, артист может сказать мне, я хочу вот этой песне, вот такие туду-туду-туду барабаны. Но, говорит, я могу взять вот эти барабаны, поставить в продакшн, и они будут звучать не вот такими огромными, как артист их представлял, а такие пуколки, просто пи-пи-пи-пи, и все. И артист сядет, послушает, и будет разочарован, потому что важно в первую очередь то, что вкладывает артист или продюсер в свои референсы, их ощущения, с чем связано прослушивание вот какой-то конкретной песни или какого-то альбома, какие эмоции это у них вызывает. И задача вот как раз Рафы, как продюсера, как звукорежиссера, распознать вот эти эмоции, узнать про них, с чем они ассоциируют вот эти референсы, и потом вот эту тему как раз и вкладывать в продакшн. То есть работа с референсами не тупое копирование звуков, а интерпретация звуков в тех записях, которые предоставляют. So, I've just condensed your sentence into the idea that you're not trying to copy the sounds from other productions, from references. You're asking artists to describe how they feel and what they feel when they listen to such a sounds. It's correct?
Exactly. Yeah, it's more important the emotion and understanding what that sound is doing for them rather than just trying to copy that sound. Sometimes, obviously, copying the sound is what you need to do, but very often it's not. Very often doesn't even fit the bill, doesn't even fit your production, wouldn't feel right, wouldn't be the right thing to do. But it's more important to copy, to try to grasp, what's behind it. Why?
Yeah, definitely. I've got your idea, and this is incredibly smart way of thinking. Not smart, wise way of thinking. It's not about smartness, because smart people can be stupid.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. But wise people really doesn't often. I can say always, because we see a lot of stuff going on right now where the wise people and smart people behaving like they're jerks and rednecks and different shades of stupidness.
Yes.
Definitely. Рафа говорит, что действительно важно в референсах поймать ощущения. И, возможно, вот то звучание, которое показывают, это не то, что нужно проекту, но важны ощущения, о которых как раз артисты говорят, и вот это вкладывается. И я поделился своими впечатлениями о том, что Рафа очень мудрый человек. Я сначала сказал умный, но потом говорю, что умные люди могут быть очень глупыми, а мудрые люди очень редко. И Рафа проникся этой мыслью действительно. Okay, Rafa, we soon has been finishing our long journey into today's connection between West and East musical world. But we have a couple more questions, and we will have a blitz by the end of our stream. Do you know what it means? blitz survey. It's like a quick questions and a very short answer. So
Okay, yeah, absolutely,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay, great. So we will back or we will forward to it a bit later. So there are few. This one is interesting from Roman Azbukin. Um, did you like a Spanish band Azil y Negro? Have you been at their studio? And Roman says that their sound is incredible.
What's the name of the artist? El Negro?
Azil or Azil y Negro. Or Azil y Negro. I'm not sure how to pronounce
Azil or Horacio? Horacio? No.
Azyl.
Azil El Negro.
Azil E like Y. Y Negro. Do you know this band?
Azil
No?
Negro. No, I mean the name Azil, sounded familiar, but no, not not 100%. Yeah, sorry about that.
See. Рафа говорит, что не знает этого артиста, поэтому, Роман, прошу прощения и за Рафу в этом плане, точнее, от его имени. The next question is about reverbs. This one is interesting, from Mikhail Vasilyev. Hardware or plugins for the reverbs and for the special processing?
Both. I use both because when I'm using the analog board, I use even some reverbs pre some processing and post some processing. So if it's in the analog world, sometimes I send some of it, to the, and there are actually some analog, reverbs that I still love, like I still love my old Eventide SP2016s, which, by the way, is the main reason why I got like the new Eventide H9000, because it actually does emulate those old SP2016s amazingly and without the noise, which is something that, these older units, the black ones, the SP2016s, the only drawback about those units is that they are very, very noisy. I'm talking like kind of noisy, like
I know. When I'm using such recordings, I'm recording printing the reverb into just a track and then denoising it using Econ Digital Acoustica or Isotope RX, because on some units noise is acceptable, but on some very old units it's like permanent hiss, and
sometimes you have to automate the return of the reverbs too. But I use both, and I use a lot of in the box reverbs, of course, a lot of them. And I'm also using like a company called Overloud Rematrix. I use that one. Very soon they're gonna come out with my own library of reverbs.
Wow.
That's gonna be available. And it's a combination of many of the different reverb combos that I use all the time. Because, for example, when I'm applying reverb to a vocal, like on the thing I'm mixing right now, and I have it actually here in front of me, but I'm using just for the vocal, and it is very, very dry. It has a very dry feel to it. I'm using 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different reverbs. 10 reverbs just for the vocals.
For the dry sound.
For a quite a dry sound, but they have a different character, and that character changes throughout the song. The pre-chorus is different from the chorus and from the bridge. So it's a combination of that reverb element morphing into something else, getting bigger, deeper, then contracting, getting smaller. And you can only accomplish that by using several reverbs with different relative levels to each other and automating those. So when a different part of the song happens, those get bigger, and then you apply some delays. So it is not just like one single reverb that's going to give you the dimension and the space that you need. Very often, it's a combination of several different reverbs that create that landscape and keep changing for different parts of the song.
Okay, I see. I guess I heard something like that in Alejandro Suez songs. there are quite a lot of different textures, and it's definitely not a single reverb on the single elements. It's definitely a mixture. Am I right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Correct. Correct.
Okay, cool. Let me translate, because it's very, very interesting. You're a master of special processing, the biggest master on whole our planet, definitely. Nobody is bigger than you on that, for sure. Рафа говорит, что он использует и железные реверы, и пространственные процессоры, и плагины. Вот он говорит, что у него SP216 Eventide, один из любимых процессоров аналоговых, но он использует его не всегда, он использует даже более новую версию H8000, которая эмулирует 216 юнит, но без шума. И Рафа говорит, что он автоматизирует включение-выключение этих реверов, чтобы шум убрать. И я ему рассказал, что действительно я вообще денойзю эти темы. И он очень четко понимает эту всю тему. То есть в аналоге есть своя заморочка в этом смысле. Но вот он говорит, что плагинов он тоже использует очень много. Он упомянул Remetrix от Overloud, в котором скоро должен появиться комплект комнат от Рафа Сардина, и нужно будет обязательно эту тему заценить, потому что Рафа действительно мастер пространственной обработки, великий мастер, лучший в этом плане на планете Земля. И я вот тоже слушал, что говорил Рафа, и Рафа говорит, вот у него проект, перед ним находится, где очень такой сухой вокал, но там 10 реверов работает. Они в разной пропорции подмешиваются друг к другу и создают более комплексное ощущение пространства, чем если бы это создавал один ревер. И он постоянно это автоматизирует, постоянно в разных частях песни все звучит иначе. И вот я спросил у него, у Александра Суэза, у Алехандро, точнее, если говорить по-испански, на последнем альбоме он слышал вот эти вещи или, ну, то есть он делал эти вещи или нет. И он говорит, да, действительно, он это все делал. И я всем рекомендую послушать этот альбом. Рафа получил за него Грэмми, и не просто так. Он реально звучит офигенно, он очень интимный, он очень крутой. I've quickly advertised an album from Alejandro, for which you've got a Grammy, and I've described it as an intimate, very emotional, and very versatile and texturized album, and highly recommended for the listening experience.
Thank you.
And I really enjoy this album, and that's not great, I guess, for you that you've mixed it, because you've so affiliated to that, and you can't get a fresh perception like for example I have when I'm listening to it. It's just a pure pleasure for me, but for you it's just a half pleasure and half hard work, isn't it?
Yeah, sometimes it takes a while to be able to enjoy previous albums again.
Yeah,
it takes some time. Yeah,
definitely, but it's all human stuff. It's like for everybody. Okay, the next question is... Следующий вопрос от Подпарамский Ли. Рафа говорил, что его двигало вперед желание работать с интересными ему артистами. Сейчас определенно он может выбирать сам. Остались ли еще те, с кем бы он хотел поработать? Если да, то с кем и почему? Отличный вопрос. We have a great question from Подпарамский Ли. Rafa tells us that he was driven by the passion to work with interesting artists, with particular artists. But today he can choose himself with whom to work. Are there some artists right now with whom you not worked and with whom you want to work? Are there some, and why?
There have always been artists, that I wish I had worked with, because some of them are actually even older artists, like legacy artists, artists from many years ago that we crossed paths and for some reason we didn't get to work with. Like, for example, and who were actually an inspiration to me early on. Like, for example, Sting,
Yeah.
I love his songwriting. I loved, how versatile he has been, even in his pop world, how versatile he has been with his expression, how he expresses himself using even different roots music, in some of the albums, or some more of a classically sounding uh, palette of sounds. For example, he will be one of them. He has been very, very elusive. I wish I had worked with him, and I have met him several times. But artists like that, or as I mentioned, Metallica, it would have been great to do like a full album with them, things like that. But obviously, I cannot. You cannot put your full effort into that line of thinking. You have to think about what's feasible for you in this moment, what opportunities are actually being placed in front of you. But one more thing I have to say, you also have to think about who you want to work with. Yeah, you should do that, because it's a way of projecting to the outside world what your line of interest is. Like, for example, when I was working with doing different styles of music, but I was just getting started with R&B. I wish I could work with Stevie Wonder, and I wish I could work with you name it, different artists, or even with John Legend, with who I just work with. You have to project that too. You have to put it into your bag of wishes, so people, I don't know, I think that there is an overall bigger perception out there about where you want to go, and sometimes those people do actually want to work with you, but they don't know. So you have to really put it out there.
Okay, that's great. Рафа говорит, что на самом деле он сейчас много задумывается, и раньше задумывался о том, с какими артистами работать, а с какими нет, то есть в каком направлении двигаться. И вот он говорит, что он работал со Стиви Вандером и с Джоном Леджендом, с которыми он мечтал поработать, но если бы он не двигался в этом направлении, он никогда бы не получил возможности поработать с ними. Вот он рассказал о Стинге, вот с кем бы он хотел поработать, рассказал, что ему очень нравится эмоциональность в его работах, разные текстуры, на разных альбомах, в разных проектах Стинг очень по-разному проявляется, и Рафе это очень нравится. Он говорит, что встречался с ним несколько раз, но так они ничего и не сделали вместе. Вот Рафа тоже сказал, что ему бы классно было поработать с Металликой, например, сделать полный продакшн с ними, это было бы обалденно. Но все равно важно с точки зрения Рафы строить свой профайл, строить свою карьеру в определенном русле, чтобы как-то понятно развивалась система. Но, опять же, важно также понимать, говорит Рафа, какие есть возможности сейчас на рынке, и вот свои ожидания и свои желания соизмерять с этим. Но нужно ложить в корзинку своих желаний какие-то вещи, которые ты действительно хочешь воплотить в жизнь, и это, действительно стоит того. Okay, Rafa, I see you have additional stuff. What you want to add? Yeah?
Yeah. No. It's fine. Yeah. I was just agreeing with you.
Okay, great. It looks like for the 2 hours you've adapted to Russian quite well, and maybe after such a conversation you will start working with some of the Russian stuff. I guess our mutual friend again, he working with a lot of Russian established artists. I mean, from the Beaumont, from the biggest perspective. I guess he can bring some to you, and it can be.
I actually did a collaboration with a Russian band years back, 7 years ago, one called Pushkin.
Pushkin, but how the name?
No, what's the name of the band? Pushkin or something like that? The rock band.
I'm not sure.
Okay, I'll find it. And
Окей, great. Мы тут с Рафой немного посмеялись касательно того, что в течение пары часов он уже начал понимать русский, и он согласен с тем, как я переводил что он говорил. Он говорит, что работал с русской группой 7 лет назад, говорит ее название, там что-то Пушкин. Может, вы сейчас в чате напишите, что за группа, я не знаю. И мы посмеялись касательно того, что наш общий друг Ген Нейди, который был у нас на стриме, который работает с топовыми русскими артистами, может привести Рафе несколько клиентов, чтобы сделать что-то вот в топовом поп-русском движе. В общем, это тоже интересная тема. Okay, Rafa, it looks like you've not found, yeah, the name of the band.
No, I haven't. I have it somewhere in my projects.
Okay. I will check. It's really interesting. And if you will remember it to yourself, just type on Facebook to me.
Absolutely.
What is the name? Really cool and really interesting. So you're into such a stuff, definitely. Okay, the last question from the chat for today, and we will be finishing with our brief survey, means blitz survey. A question from Илья Дичи-Парти, о Dodge Party. Я не знаю, как произнести, прошу прощения. Работает ли он с электронной танцевальной музыкой, с какими артистами? So, Ilya, asking you, are you working with EDM music? And maybe you have some names which you like to work and which you like to listen.
What music, sorry?
Electronic dance music, EDM music.
Do you know, I haven't really done much, back in the day, I did a couple of things, with some, New York, DJs, things like that. I have some friends who actually run the Ibiza, club scene. So yeah. I've been I'm really, really, really in touch with it. I mean, this past summer, I did like a big 5-day, scouting of the trends, who is doing what and why and everything. But yeah, I haven't really done much. I have friends who actually truly specialize on that and do that exclusively, because that really is a very niche, really, really niche-oriented market. Talking about niche-oriented markets that are like very, very peculiar, that's one of them, I will say. Yeah.
Okay, definitely. Рафа говорит, что он не особо много работал с EDM-артистами, он делал проекты с нью-йоркскими диджеями, он очень любит такую музыку, он в теме вот этого всего движняка на Ибице, то есть прошлым летом он был на мероприятиях с трансовой музыкой и другой электронной музыкой, то есть ему нравится эта тема, но он говорит, что это очень-очень узкий рынок для определенных артистов и для определенных продюсеров и звукорежиссеров. У него есть друзья, которые вовлечены в это полноценно, но это очень-очень узкий момент. So, Rafa, we will be finishing because I'm start like twiddling with my brain, with simultaneously asking, translating, and wondering about stuff and emotional reaction to what you're saying. And that's great because you're the person we've met in electronically in person, let's call it like that, first time today. But I'm feeling the connection, you know, between how I'm feeling, you're sharing your feelings with me, and I understand that we're on the same wave, and that's
Absolutely,
great.
yeah.
So we're totally different guys. I'm a Ukrainian a guy which people think that I'm Jewish guy, but when I'm in Israel, everybody in Israel thinks that I'm Jewish, and that's great. So I love to be in such an interference. And you're a Basque with Spanish kind of influence, and you're living in US, and you're not damaging your even speech. You're not damaging your pronunciation with some kind of American accent or things like that, which people usually do. People forgetting their roots or just shying because of their pronouncing things in the right way or whatever. But you totally don't care about that. You're living in US
Absolutely not.
for decades. No, no, it's not.
I don't care. Absolutely. Yeah, you're right. I don't care about those things. Yeah. It's what makes us human, being different. And what's the same with music. That's the biggest importance about what we do, being different, being unique. You really have to strive for uniqueness, more than anything else. Yeah.
Я поделился с Рафой своими впечатлениями, что мы сегодня все собрались здесь, совсем разные люди. Он баск с испанскими включениями, который живет в Штатах. Я украинец, о котором думают, что я еврей, и в Израиле так же само люди думают, что я еврей, и я отлично к этому отношусь. То есть всякие вот эти разные вещи соединяются. Рафа разговаривает на английском с испанским акцентом, и ему по барабану. Я разговариваю с русским акцентом, и мне тоже по барабану. И вот Рафа говорит, действительно, важно быть другим, важно отличаться, важно чувствовать себя собой и быть собой. И это, как мне кажется, гармонизирует личность. So all these things which when you're just feeling yourself and love yourself, it pays you with the thing which you're feeling yourself fulfilled and feeling yourself confident with your unique and with your differences and maybe strengths, maybe weakness, powers and looseness and things like that. Do you feel this way, as I understand?
Yeah, but I think that you have to see most of them as strengths. Really, you have no seriously. You have to think of them as strengths. You cannot. It's not really weaknesses. Even those that might seem like weaknesses really are strengths in a way. It's just that you need to find the real application to them. I'm checking my battery only at 5%, so I better get a charger for it.
So
give me just 1 second.
Okay, good.
I just need to get it. I never thought about this, but yeah, the battery is draining and it's connected here on top of the console. But give me just literally 30 seconds.
Okay. Ребята, вы видите, насколько много интересных вещей с точки зрения именно личности вот делится с нами Рафа. Вот что определяет крупнейших профессионалов в нашей индустрии, да и в принципе в любой сфере жизни, это вот действительно ощущение себя собой, возможность прислушаться к себе, возможность прислушаться к другим людям, почувствовать себя собой, почувствовать других людей другими людьми. И это все вот транслируется и на музыку, и это все транслируется и на личную жизнь, и на все, что находится между этими всеми вещами. Это действительно вдохновляет, и это действительно звучит круто, выглядит круто. И это то, чему стоит учиться на самом деле. Okay, Rafa. Awesome. But anyway, we're finishing. We're on the finishing line right here. So, couple of questions from our Blitz survey. The first one. Если в мире исчезнут все аналоговые консоли, будешь ли ты плакать? If all the analog consoles in the world disappear, will you cry?
No.
Awesome. Рафа говорит, нет, не будет плакать. The next question. Если бы ты мог оставить в эквалайзере только одну частоту, какой бы она была? If you could leave only one frequency in the equalizer to boost, what would it be?
Only one frequency to boost.
Frequency to boost.
It'll be between 1K and 4K. It'll be probably like 3K.
Рафа говорит, это будет между 1 и 4 килогерцами, где-то 3 килогерца. The same question, but about cut. One frequency to cut.
One frequency to cut. It'll probably be everything below 40 hertz.
Рафа говорит, это все, что находится ниже 40 Гц. Thanks a lot. The next question. Что насчет реверберации? Комната или холл? What about reverb? Room or hall?
I like rooms. I like rooms.
Awesome.
Мгм.
Рафа говорит, что любит комнаты. The next question is. Какой бы компрессор ты взял с собой на необитаемый остров? Which compressor would you take with you to a desert island? Whatever, a plugin or hardware.
Plugin or hardware? Obviously, this is a
Only
very hard
one.
one because everyone is different. But you know what? Now that I'm at it and I just received my vacuum box, U23M, I'll take one of those.
Рафа говорит, что взял бы с собой один из новых вакью-боксов, которые у него вот сзади за ним находятся. Great answer. And the last blitz question is tough. А чем бы ты занялся, если бы больше не смог заниматься музыкой в целом и звукорежиссурой в частности? What would you do if you could no longer do music in general and sound engineering in particular?
Oh, I have many other interests. My interest with audio manufacturing, my interest with wine world, so many other interests. Interest, in movie production, which I'm also involved with. I have so many other interests, and all of them have some kind of like artistic relationship. All of them are artistic in some kind of way or manner. So any of them or
Okay.
all of them.
Incredible. Рафа говорит, что это вообще не проблема для него, потому что он вовлечен в киноиндустрию, он бы мог заниматься фильмами, он очень вовлечен в производство вина, и он бы с удовольствием занимался этим. Он вовлечен в производство аудиооборудования, и он бы спокойно железяки делал. И у него еще есть целая куча интересов. То есть он говорит, что нашел бы, чем заняться. And the last question regarding your wine production. Will we see some kind of a custom Rafa Sardina wine for the like global market, especially for East Europe or not?
It won't be my name, but you will hear about it.
Okay.
You won't have my name, but you will hear about it.
Okay, great. Рафа,
Definitely.
я спросил, будет ли вино, которое Рафа будет продавать по всему миру, и в том числе в Восточной Европе, на котором будет его имя. Рафа говорит, имени его на этом вине не будет, но он точно будет... Он расскажет об этом всем, то есть мы увидим это вино от него. I hope it will be a dry red wine or some kind of Porto or things like that. Because I like...
It will be a red wine. It will be a very complex red wine. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. By the way, my wife is super affiliated to Zinfandel grape. And Californian in particular. There are a lot of Zinfandel regions, but California is the biggest, I guess. And
Yes.
there are different manufacturers which are quite good. I like Malbec more than Zinfandel because it's fuller, it's more pronounced, it's richer.
I like Malbecs better than Zinfandel.
Yeah, than Zinfandel. But
we agree on that.
Definitely, but it's a man stuff, women like different shades of wine more.
Yeah.
For example, I know a lot of girls and women who like Merlot, for example, but I'm not into Merlot at all.
Yeah.
I like Pinot Noir. If I have to like choose, I will choose Pinot Noir instead of Merlot. But a lot of women choose opposite.
Merlots are good for blends.
Definitely.
For blends with other grapes, even with Cabernets and Petit Verdot and others. But yeah, I agree with you totally.
Definitely. And that's really great. Мы тут немножко пообщались по поводу сортов винограда. Я высказал свое предположение, что круто было бы, чтобы Рафа сделал, ну, красное сухое вино, ну, или порто в крайнем случае. Но Рафа говорит, это точно будет красное вино. И я поделился тем, что Ольга очень любит вина, сделанные с сорта винограда Зинфандель, который в Калифорнии очень популярен. Но мне больше нравится Малбек. И Рафа говорит, что ему тоже больше нравится Малбек. И мы потом немного поговорили про Мерло и Пино Нуар. Я говорю, что Мерло это больше женщинам нравится, а Пино Нуар, ну, как-то больше мужская тема, и мне эта тема больше подходит. Рафа говорит, у него так же, и вот он считает, что Мерло нужно в каких-то сочетаниях с Каберне Самийон или с чем-то, с какими-то другими моментами. So, it's a long story and a long conversation because I'm a lot into this alcohol world and can talk about you know the funny thing. I will not translate it into Russian, but a lot of guys, because I'm like quite famous sound engineer in East Europe. Not as you, of course, but I'm trying, you know.
I know you are.
Definitely. But the thing is that a lot of guys asking me questions about sound engineering and stuff like that. And in some days, there are so many questions in private. You understand the situation quite well because you're receiving such messages every day. And I when I'm tired and I have some kind of anxiety or things like that, or exhausted or whatever, I'm just telling guys, if you want to talk about sound engineering, let's talk about vodka production or about wine or about some kind of drinks, because this type of thing is really interesting and is really what I'm into.
Yeah.
for sure. Окей, Рафа, thanks a lot. Ребята, напишите в чате спасибо Рафе, мы будем заканчивать. Я не хочу держать уже его больше, мы и так отобрали у него целую кучу времени. Но я надеюсь, наш разговор был интересен не только нам с вами, но и также Рафе. Напишите спасибо и пока для Рафы. Okay, Rafa, I hope this conversation was not bothering and not too destructive for you. I'm praying for that for every minute we've talked with you. And,
no, absolutely. It was great. It was really great. I love to share, my thoughts about things.
Great. Thanks a lot. It was really inspiring, and I hope people will understand your way of thinking, your concept. And it was our intention. It was the theme for our interview. Not more into gear stuff, but more into brain stuff, into hard stuff, into emotional, into human being, because we see a lot of stuff. We're on quarantine right now, isn't it? And we're all can be infected. That's why we're self-isolated. We're all humans. We all can be damaged by other people. We can damage or harm other people as well. But at the same time, we can share peaceful vibes. We can share our love, our passion, and our like what we have good inside us. Can you say something about that?
Yeah, I think it's a very important time. I think it's a big reminder of, like you were asking me before, why you do this, right? Why, what drives you? It's a big reminder. It has been like a slap in the face for whole humanity to think about, the basic things that make them happy, not the complex things that make you happy, but the basic things, the conceptual things that make you happy. Why do you wake up every day in the morning and go to work or not go to work? Or why do you do this? Why do you spend like 12 hours in a mix? What's the concept behind it? Are you really happy doing so? So I think this has been a blessing in disguise in a way. What we're going through is not all negative. I think there is a huge positive aspect because, people are becoming more introspective about their lives. And I would like to just share, to everybody listening, that no matter what you do, in this world, in the audio music world, you have to basically express your inner voice. You cannot just mimic what other people do. You cannot just mimic or try to copy other people's, success path, or the way they created their path to success or to being happy. You have to create your own version of it. And in order to do
Definitely.
that, you have to definitely know yourself better, and taking that as the starting point, as the base home, you have to think about all of the ramifications, of all of this. But that's what you really need to, you have to put out your inner voice and create your own version of success. Success is very elusive, and it is very elusive. Even if you are like commercially super successful, doesn't mean shit unless you are personally successful and you feel that personal success. So that's my message.
Yeah,
for
quite a long, but
everybody out there.
yeah, quite an interesting and really inspiring and really supportive message, because a lot of guys can really inspire people to motivate or things like that, like Tony Robbins trying, or guys like that who generating money on motivating people. But supporting people is a different type of thing, and it's what's like following by your inner voice, really, because you can motivate, you can do it, you're staying on the piece of shit and you can do it, you're the great. It's easy to say, but to help people to just grab their feet from the sheet and to lift them up on your shoulders, this is a different type of stuff. Mm-hmm. And this is what we have to remember, and this is what for we here as a civilization, as a really community, because we have all inner voices, but we're sharing these inner voices with other people, isn't it? So
all the time,
it's a part of a personality and the community. Let me quickly translate, because it was a long stuff, and we will be finishing. Ребята, я начну с конца. Рафа сказал, что очень важно иметь свой внутренний голос и иметь возможность выразить свой внутренний голос. И вот мы долго обсуждали, я уже не настолько свеж, чтобы все эти вещи четко перевести и поймать, но я поймаю ощущения от этого референса и постараюсь вам донести эту идею. Рафа говорит, что важно прислушиваться к себе, важно чувствовать себя, чувствовать других людей вокруг тебя. И даже в вот это сложное время, когда мы можем поделиться с другими самыми разными эмоциями, пробовать делиться и поддерживать людей чем-то хорошим, чем-то настоящим, тем, что есть у нас лучшего. И один момент, который я выпустил из предыдущего фрагмента, что Рафа говорил. Рафа говорит, что слабости, которые есть у человека, он не думает, что это слабости, он думает, что это сильные стороны. Просто нужно найти тот способ, которым эти сильные стороны можно проявить. То есть мы наполнены сильностями, а не слабостями. И вот то, что Рафа рассказывал, это как раз об этом. Я поделился своими впечатлениями касательно того, что очень важно не просто там мотивировать людей, как-то вдохновлять или что-то делать, а важно поддерживать. И вот то, что делает Рафа, то, что мы здесь стараемся с вами друг другу давать, это в первую очередь поддержка. Потому что легко сказать человеку, который стоит на куче дерьма, что давай, ты из него выберися, ты все сможешь, смотивировать типа человека. А другое дело, взять свои руки, опустить их человеку под ноги в вот эту кучу дерьма и закинуть человека на свои плечи и вытянуть его оттуда. Это совсем другой подход к жизни. И Рафа говорит, что действительно вот это то, ради чего стоит жить. Мы имеем свой внутренний голос, но мы живем в обществе. И это очень круто. Thanks a lot, Rafa, for this conversation. It was not the best thing that we delayed it, because I wanted to talk with you earlier, and it was like, when we will talk.
No, but it was good.
I want. But
we made it happen.
Definitely. But I really appreciate your support for your community, for all the nation, because these days we're talking about support for Black people, support for different shades and colors of people, but it's really worth considering supporting everybody, supporting Black people, white people, Asian, Ukrainian, Spanish, German, whatever. Because we're all humans, we all love music, we're working with music, and we're connecting with music. And thanks a bunch for your contribution to that, because without you, the world of music could be a really different, less emotional, more trendish. And thanks a lot for your contribution to Grammy committee as well.
No, thank you guys. Thank you guys. I mean, it's great that you are actually the guys creating this platform. So, yeah. Thank you.
Что ж, ребята, я поблагодарил Рафу. Благодарю вас за сегодняшнюю трансляцию. Всем пока. Okay, Rafa, say пока to guys.
But how do you pronounce it?
Пока. Пока. Like that.
Пока.
Yes, definitely. It's bye-bye.
Пока. Пока,
Okay.
guys. Cheers.